ladies and gentlemen across planet Earth. What's up? And welcome to Morning Coffee. What's up, guys?
I am Kate Buckley. Some of you may know me as from my Twitter or my YouTube channel, The Kate Awakening. Thanks, Mom.
Where's everybody at? Where are you at, family?
It was at that point I knew, like, I was like, this feels good. I know we're like doing something right
same.
here.
Good day. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite creator. This is Baseline. I'm your host, Xavier Hawk.
It was pumping. I knew when the masses woke up, they were going to want to ride that wave, and there's going to be a big push.
Before that, though, I'm just going to burn a little bit of Palo Santo. Just get everybody settled in.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life.
See? You can't be afraid of anything in life, you guys. You gotta just get over your fear. Especially if you're afraid of doing something, that's all the more reason why you should hit it and go for it. Pedal to the metal. Because fear is just a frequency you don't want to live in.
You wear your blues like a new pair of shoes and keep the secret to your heart locked up in the tomb. I got the tool to make your mind, body, and spirit move, but I pursued all I can, and now the rest is up to you.
Beep, bubble, beep.
Hello, hello. I see you all here. This would be considered in a way a blackout if the hours did roll by and there was no data all of a sudden, but it was just all black. That's what we call a blackout.
Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Cosmic Download. My name is Jace.
We're getting the gang back together. The tribe is gathering.
All right, y'all. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Cosmic Download. My name is Jace. This is Cosmic Origins. We are back in the studio today with our awesome background. So I'm going to burn a little Palo Santo to get us started, just like Matthew did in the trailer. I hope you guys like that trailer. I had a lot of fun making that. It was funny because when I went to make that trailer, I didn't intend on using the audio for the majority of those clips. I was just going to put them to, music. And then the audio lined up so perfectly between each person. I was like, this is hilarious. I have to include the audio for most of them. And it worked out pretty well. Especially Matthew's little scene. That's our favorite part. Where he's like, okay, gotta light some Palo Santo first. But yeah, welcome everybody. Oh, things are dinging. New subscriber. I didn't even know I had that set up. That's pretty cool. There we go. There it is. Welcome. Angelito, Tyler, Woke, Voxor, Monica, Raymond. Would you guys give me a let's throw your favorite emoji in the chat if the audio is all good on your end. What's up, Jaff? What's up, Earthworth? Schumann Beings, Stacia. Hey, we got a pretty big crowd here today for the very beginning of the video. That's pretty good. Good to see you, Cheshire. Cheshire is going to be at the Family of Light gathering doing the opening ceremony, her and Joel. It's going to be awesome. We got another new subscriber, apparently. I don't even know if this is legit or if this is like calling upon old stuff. I don't know. But I like the little ding. That's nice. Oh yeah, I've never really said this, but I think it might actually help my channel. So if you could, please click that little subscriber notification bell. I think it's over here. or over here or something. I don't even know what I'm doing. And that might actually help me with people getting notified about this. I think more people than usual got notified about this live today, so that's awesome. What's up, Matthew Starseed? Good to see you, brother. Wild Sense. Man, the chat is popping today. This is great. Dieselhound 777. Oddity. Wise Mama Bear. Wild Sense, if I didn't already say that. Alexis Rye. Juanito. Welcome everyone. Okay, so today, like I said, we're back in the studio. It's raining outside today, so that's good for the energies we've been having here, because we needed a little bit of flush in Sedona. There's been some Arizona wildfires going on lately, and so having the rain is a nice natural flush of the system. At least I think so. I've been born and raised in the desert my whole life, so the rain is something I really still enjoy. Rain and snow are still like pretty fresh to me, because I didn't get a lot of those where I was growing up. Yeah, so today, let's pop on over to see if this... Oh, it always goes black first. Come on, let's get you working. Hold on, I need to open up the internet. OBS always has this bug whenever I try to open up Brave browser. Here we go. So yes, we actually have a very exciting offer with the Family of Light gathering today. I believe it should be fully updated on the website now, but we are having a weekend, just for this weekend, flash sale on registration passes for regular tickets. So, oh, looks like it's not quite up yet. Okay, maybe it'll be up by the end of this video. Just keep checking back. I think Alexis, here we go, flash sale. Now it's working. So we have a special offer for everyone who's watching here today, and you know, you're welcome to share this offer with other people too, of course, but for those that have maybe been struggling a little bit and they really want to come, and you know, the price is a little bit out of their range, but wanted to offer this for those people. So flash sale, $220 for the 3-day pass instead of the $333. Live stream pass is also on sale. If you can't make it out, it's definitely going to be worth it. The live stream is going to be really awesome for those of you that aren't able to make it out in physical, and we're going to make it as cool and special as possible, show you all around the venue, all that cool stuff. So yeah, check that out. This is link right down in the description below. And I'm just going to go over some of the speakers again for you guys that maybe haven't seen this so much. So this is the official gathering, the official conference that Alexis and I have made, and we are hosting here in Sedona, Arizona. It's our first event of this magnitude. We've been working in the conference scene for years, getting really experienced and understanding what we really like and what we don't like, and what the most valuable things are when it comes to a gathering like this. So this is our debut of our first annual event that we're going to be hosting every year, and maybe it'll be in a different place next year. Maybe it'll be in Sedona. We don't really know. So you know, it's a good reason to come this year, not necessarily wait until next year, because maybe it won't be in the same place. But for this year, Sedona, Arizona, our slogan is "We are the ones we've been waiting for," which we do have merch for on our Teespring. We have some "We are the ones we've been waiting for" sweatshirts and shirts and stuff, which have been a favorite amongst our merch. And basically this conference is broken down into mind, body, and spirit, and the activation and cultivation of the mind, body, and spirit. So we wanted to take like the best parts of the conference style of gathering with speakers, but also the festival scene and kind of vibe of things, because that's really where I got my initial start in kind of the event spaces with festivals and music and stuff like that. So we wanted to combine the best of both worlds with that. And so we're going to be having these speakers every day that are broken up down into mind, body, and spirit, where each day is mind, body, or spirit. So Friday is mind. It's basically going to be centered around the mental aspects of awakening, the physical truths, the data, the facts, the experiences, red pill, that kind of stuff. So on Friday, we're going to have Journey to Truth, which is, of course, Tyler and Aaron from the Journey to Truth podcast. We're going to have Alara from 1 Foot in 5D, and we're going to have Kate of the Kate Awakening for our speakers of that day. And we're also going to have sound healing opening ceremonies with Sedona Sound Healing Tribe, Cheshire and Joel, which is going to be super awesome. And then we're going to have our musical guest, Ben Steezy, who's a really talented, amazing conscious rapper who has songs about the awakening experience. He has a song called Adrenochrome, which is super, super lit. He has songs about tonics and medicinal mushrooms and like all that kind of stuff. So he's one of my favorite rappers and artists in general out there, because he's really taken like the awakening scene and applied it to really talented music production, and they just go together so well. So he's going to be Friday night, and we thought that would be a good like lead in from all the mental disclosure red pill kind of topics, and then going into conscious rap that gets us to like kind of think and flow about those things. So we thought that would be a good matchup. And then Saturday, we're going to have Alexander Mazone and Rion de Rouen, who are Sedona locals. They actually do their own conference here in Sedona called Cosmic Awakenings, which you guys may or may not have heard of, but they are pretty popular here in Sedona for all the work that they do. They used to co-host a show together called Morning Coffee, and now Rion, I believe, is still doing that show under that name. And they're just super talented, very wise, very magical people. And that's going to be Saturday on the Spirit Day. So Saturday is Spirit. It's about the galactic connection. It's about grounding ourselves into that galactic connection. And we're also going to have Matthew Mornian, who is a super good friend of ours. We've been friends with him for many years now. And we are going to be interviewing Matthew tomorrow nights on Alexis's channel. So that's going to be our first of a couple interviews that we're going to be doing with some of the speakers, and it's going to be super fun and weird and awesome. Weird in the best ways, because whenever we talk with Matthew, it's just always like the best, weirdest, funky topics, and that's what that's what we want. So it's going to be dope. And Matthew, if you guys aren't familiar with Matthew Mornian, he is a multi-dimensional tarot reader, intuitive healer, very, very wise, very talented person. I learned so much from Matthew every time I interact with him, and he is really on the cutting edge of all of the metaphysical, multi-dimensional healing work that he's doing. So really look up to Matthew, and yeah, he'll be Saturday. And then we're also going to have Xavier Hawk, who hosts the show Baseline. Xavier Hawk is a super cool addition to this, because he's someone that's come on our radar more recently in the past couple of months, and he actually has his own cryptocurrency network. So he is he's the chief architect of FireOn, which is a crypto network that is based around well, here, let me go ahead and read you his bio. Xavier Hawk, the Thunderbird, is a modern-day creative polymath and chief architect of FireOn, the decentralized self-governing autonomous organization whose aim is to end poverty through a custom currency, merit-based consensus, cooperative, and self-empowerment. So FireOn is all about self-empowerment and social governance, a lot like the way that Flare is, and that we've talked about Flare being a social governance system, but even more so on the social side of things is what FireOn is doing, rather than like the financial side. So that's going to be really cool to hear everything that he has to share about that and about his journey in general. And he calls FireOn I believe he says the social governance system for steering spaceship Earth. So it's a really good example of, when it comes to crypto, how we're going to be using the blockchain and blockchain technology and the transparency behind it to create all sorts of new opportunities and structures for the way that things on Earth are going to be run. And that's really like one of the driving things of the blockchain that I really try to like teach people about how valuable it's going to be, that it's not just money. It's not just cryptocurrency. We're going to do voting with it. We're going to do social governance systems. We're going to like pretty much every business will be run on the blockchain, because it's basically taking our current digital system, which is totally run by the dark forces and really easily corruptible, like most people have their money in banks. That's all ones and zeros, right? If someone were to hack the bank with all these cyber attacks, change those ones and zeros, your bank account would be worth nothing. So that's why we need to go from a fraudulent digital system, which is what we're currently on, to a blockchain-based digital system, which is actually going to protect and secure the people using it. And we don't have any more, central banks that are going to be telling everyone what to do. There's still going to be central banks, but with currencies like XRP, with networks like Flare, we're going to be put on an even playing field with the banks. And eventually, and people will just stop going to them because they won't need them anymore, at least for the central banking type dynasty structures that they've created. I do believe that banks will be around just as reserves in the future, but reserves for the people. Jump over to the chat real quick. Raymond's saying Ottawa's had a ton of rain lately. Dang. Well, at least it's not just here then. It's all of North America, maybe. Stacy said the same thing. Oh, it's very strange because, one of the other things I was going to talk about is how Mr. T's first, rally is today. So, rain on the first rally day. It might not be natural. Angelito says, was I ever at Conscious Life Expo in LA? I did go to Conscious Life Expo twice. That's actually where I met Matthew and where I first met Alexis for the first time in the physical, was at Conscious Life Expo. And that's, maybe Matthew and I will talk about that experience. And we were at Conscious Life because it was a bunch of funny stuff going on then. Matthew the Starseed, dude, this looks so awesome to hear you speak about this amazing event. Alexis and you are hosting. Huge shout out to Matthew the Starseed. He's been such a huge help in getting the word out about this event and spreading the vibes and the information and making posts. Thank you so much, Matthew. You are incredible. All the Matthews getting the love today. It's a Matthew kind of day. Don't you know, Trump it up. We're going to work that song into the dance party. I'm also trying to find the China Trump song that's been going viral. I'm going to try to work that into the dance party. So yeah, going back to this real quick before we get into the rest of the news that we got going on. Saturday, let's just finish this up. Saturday, I told you we got Xavier Hawk and then Rion. And then Saturday night is our cosmic dance party that my good friend Love Sponge will be DJing with me. As far as who's doing what hour, that's still flexible. I might change that up and just do a back-to-back the whole time. But that's gonna be a fun dance party. If you have any particular, I don't know, meme songs or funny dance songs that you think pertain to all the themes that we're doing, feel free to send them over. But yeah, I want to include the China Trump song and the Pump It Up song, of course, and a couple of other fun stuff that I think people would get a kick out of. So then Sunday, we're really grounding it back into the body. So again, this is mind, body, spirit each day. There are also individual passes available that we just released, limited amount of individual passes. And so Sunday, we're pulling it back down into the body, and we're going to be talking about the more scientific things, body, health, general wellness. Alexis will be speaking that day about the Schumann resonance and space weather, and that's one that you're really going to want to see because, the Schumann resonance and space weather is something that a lot of channels are starting to talk about now. And there's a lot of misinformation going around about the Schumann resonance. And there's kind of these, catchphrases that people throw out there, like the Schumann resonance is rising. It's off the charts. It's going so high. And Alexis has done a stellar job of really understanding the science behind what is happening with the Schumann and space weather. And, just for example, one thing is that, it's not the 7.82 base frequency that is increasing when people say, oh, the Schumann went up to 100 or, 90 or whatever. That's not the frequency. That is the amplitude of the frequency. So it's like how strong the frequency is, how loud it is, the amplitude of it. So it's things like that Alexis has really done an amazing job of researching and understanding the balance between the science and the spirituality of it. And she has an amazing presentation that she's put together over the past couple years that you're definitely not going to want to miss. So that's Sunday. And then we have Zen God, my good friend Zen God, aka Zach, will be speaking Sunday as well about, I think, a variety of things, including, well, let's see what he put in his bio just so that we get it right. Zen will, the presentation is called Being Free Now. Zen will share secrets on how you can open the doors of infinity by living in a state of Zen, being sovereign through digital assets, wealth transfer in the new age, living in a decentralized world, abundance in all areas, tapping into the inner Zen. And he also has background in neurolinguistic therapy, so he may be speaking about that as well. And then we've got Troy Casey, the certified health nut fellow Sedonian, who is all about health and being your own doctor and wellness and breath work. And he is a very amazing dude and has come, he's taught me so much, and he's taught a lot of people a lot about, you know, how you can really heal yourself with these things that a lot of us already know about, but he really brings it into a tangible space where like you feel like it's very attainable and doable. So Troy's awesome. Again, Sedona local. He's been here for, I think, about a year now. And then we'll be ending with Johnny of Sexual Kung Fu, another good friend who I've connected with in the past year or so. Pretty much everyone on here is people that we know and trust personally, which is awesome. That was really important to us to bring people on that we really resonate with personally and not just kind of pile on people for the fad of it. So Johnny talks about, he's a Qigong instructor, meditation, Taoist sexual energy, cultivation practices. He's studied with several masters around the world, and his big thing is semen retention in particular is his focus for males, and how we can use this to essentially store up our innate spiritual powers and use that for our energy in all areas of life that'll attract in abundance and health and love and emotional balance and all these things. So he really drives that home. But don't worry, women, I'm pretty sure he will be speaking on things that apply to everybody too. So he just happens to have a particular focus on men's health. But yeah, that's going to be really awesome. And then we're going to be ending it with Xavier Hawk is going to be doing some kind of musical dance closing ceremony that I'm pretty stoked on, and that's how we're going to end it. And then we may have we did kind of shrink Friday a little bit to start a little bit later on Friday because we thought it would be good to have some essentially free time if people wanted to meet up before the conference and do a hike, or there's a couple of different things that we have in mind that we think would be a good way to like ground into Sedona for the people that are visiting here before we actually like begin the ceremonies and begin holding the space. And so Friday morning will kind of be our time, and that'll give people, you know, the people that are traveling more time to sleep in a little bit on Friday morning and not have to worry about getting there right in the morning. So we thought that was a good, important thing to change. If you haven't seen our venue, this venue is amazing. Best venue in Sedona by far, indoor venue. Great view of the Red Rocks. So this is the actual view of the Red Rocks you can see from the upper courtyard area. This is the indoor space. Limited seating, very intimate venue. So, you know, we're going to be very close, hanging out. Everyone will get a chance to meet each other, talk with the speakers and everything. So it's a very intimate venue, which we really cherished as well. And, you know, also we got our first little bit of hate mail today. Just a troll on, I don't know, our website chat. And they were like, who do you think you are charging for an event like this? You know, basically insinuating we should just be having it for free, which I would love. But, you know, venues like this, they do cost, especially in Sedona, and they cost a bit of a pretty penny because they are in such a beautiful location. And this is really like the only venue of this caliber in Sedona. So it's not cheap. That is why we have to, you know, charge for tickets rather than just having it, you know, be a free thing. But we're doing our best to pack in as much as we can and offer as much as we can. And that's why we have this flash sale going on for those that really need it. Let's pop over here again. Flash sale, $220 for the 3-day pass, $70 for the live stream pass, and that's just going to be just for this weekend. So make sure you get on that before the weekend ends. And we also have our crypto options available. I'm going to expand this to accepting XLM and XDC and maybe a few other things as well, because some people have asked about that. So if you have a particular crypto you wanted to donate in that's not on here, you are free to run it by me. But yes, that is the Family of Light Gathering. We hope to see you there. We're very, very excited for this. We've been getting tons of synchronicities and awesome signs that it's going to be amazing, better than we can expect. And I'm really holding space to like let it evolve into itself and not try to control it too much, and let it become what it wants to be. So yes, very excited for that. We are less than a month away now. Stacy says, all my favorite people are going to be there. That's awesome. It's the family of light. It's all of us. Greg's working on manifesting going. Manifestation is accelerated for both negative and positives. It's a skill set. Yeah. I've noticed that too, that it's like the manifestation is recently much more powerful. So if you're dwelling on negative thoughts, like, for this, for instance, like if you're saying, oh, I can't make it, I can never make that happen, you're going to manifest that. But if you tell yourself, I'm going to make it happen, it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, maybe, but it's going to happen, whether it's this or whatever you want. That subconscious courage and that subconscious confidence is really going to help with your manifestation abilities. And I've been noticing that a lot this past week, like not allowing myself to get into a space where anything is trying to manifest, say, negative things for me by putting thoughts in my head that I don't want in my head. It's like, I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I had this like, I was going to say dream, but it definitely wasn't a dream. It was very real. I was sitting in my chair out here in the living room and feeling like there was a voice in my head that was just messing with me. It's that voice that tells us we're not good enough, or it's not, things, aren't going to work out the way we want them, or whatever it is, that condescending voice. And I basically was like, you're just a little ant. You're nothing. All of these, all the powers that were on the planet, they weren't even powers. Like you if we were to actually get up face to face with these people, they're like ants energetically. They're such tiny, minuscule, weak beings. And I'm talking about these beings that seek to control other people, whether they're human or non-human. They're extremely weak, extremely pitiful. And so I was saying this in my head. I was like, you're nothing, like I'm an elephant compared to you. You're just a little ant. And then I felt some tingling on my crown chakra, and I literally pulled a little tiny ant, the smallest ant I've ever seen. I pulled it off my head, and I almost let it go. And then my higher self was like, no, you should actually squish this one, because it's a manifestation of what you were just talking about. And so I squished it, and then, I felt amazing after that. That condescending voice just went away. And so I've been kind of practicing that, if that ever comes back up. Becca, get the live stream pass, says Stacia. Yep, 2 days. It's on good sale. It's worth it. Really good sale. The live stream pass especially is a really great deal, because for 3 days of, like about 8 hours a day of all this stuff, what I think it's 70 right now. So that's a pretty good deal for 3 days of this stuff. All right, let's get into some of the crazy ish that's been going on around the world. And if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the bell, that's what I'm getting. Having to adjust myself to saying, hit the notification bell. It'll actually really help me on this channel. And if you could share the video on Telegram or Facebook, especially since I don't even have Facebook anymore. I have no reach on Facebook, so Facebook would be useful. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the stuff happening. Lots of stuff. So we could just check this out real quick. This is the... We'll look at the article first. Trump Ohio rally live. Former president kicks off revenge tour with first major rally since leaving office. revenge tour. Isn't it crazy how they are really like painting this to, be what they want it to be? So not only is today the rally, and here's the live video from the rally from RSBN. And by the way, this is going to be, he's going to be speaking at 7 Eastern Daylight Time, so 4 Pacific. So we got a few more hours, but the energy is rampant, and it feels good to have this kind of thing going again. But what else is going on today? Breaking update: history made as final Arizona ballot inspections completed. Huge preliminary report expected Monday when true number of ballot totals announced. So, whether it was planned this way or not, the fact that this is the same exact day as the Ohio rally is pretty significant, I think. And what's even cooler, at least as a personal synchro, is the stadium that this is being held in was a stadium that I actually saw. We'll call him Mr. T. I saw him speak here at one of his rallies in Arizona. It is I think it's the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And guess what, you guys? It's literally on 17th Street. It's on 17th Street. Isn't that crazy? So not only have I seen him speak here, I noticed it was 17th Street. Back then, I also saw Jake there. It wasn't where I first met him, but no, wait, maybe it was where I first met him. It was where I first met him, because I went to a couple of these rallies, and this was the first one. And so, I'm talking about Jake with the getup. That's where I first saw him, and I was like, this dude there's more going on with this dude than what meets the eye. I mean, every time I saw him at these rallies, he was not like there to, he was like there as a plant in a good way. He was not in line. He was not trying to get into the event. He was there with a mission to disclose a lot of these subjects to people that were freshly awakening. And at this point, when I first saw him, he was talking about the SSP, the Secret Space Program, the Black Budget Space Programs, which is something I'm, of course, really big on. And he was talking about all the different Navy patents that had just been released that were relevant to this disclosure. And it was like the Hawk, the hybrid air underwater vehicle, and the superconductor at room temperature, which could basically be a free energy device. And of course, the Hawk, the hybrid aerial underwater vehicle, is essentially a TR-3B flying triangle type vehicle. And so he was out there with signs like talking about that, and I even got a little bit of on a vlog that I did there. Oh, thank you, Cheshire. 17th Avenue. Yes, not 17th Street, 17th Avenue. Thank you for that correction. And 19th on the other side. That's funny. That's funny too, because like a couple of years ago, I remember explicitly seeing the number 17 and then 19. I was in the middle of a forest in like Sacramento, and these trees were marked with numbers, but the only 2 numbers that I saw tagged were 17 and 19. And I remember thinking I already knew 17 was important, and I remember thinking 19 has got to be important. Like, they're showing me this for a reason. And it's only been more in the past year that I've realized that the 19th is in, I think it connects to the 19th president in terms of going back to the pre-Act of 1871 presidency. I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I believe that would make Mr. T the 19th president if we were to go back to that original constitution versus the corporate America post-Act of 1871. So it's like Spirit was trying to show me that a while back, but I didn't know what it meant. But yeah, 17th on one side, 19th on the other. That's pretty cool. Jake, Cheshire points out Jake is still in solitary confinement. # free Jake. Yeah, pray for Jake. Pray that everything's going well. I have a feeling that more is going on that meets the eye in a good way. Like, this is all meant to be, but of course we still want to pray and, get these people out of these situations that they've been wrongfully, held up in. But I think he's probably doing a lot of good there, a lot of good light work. I have a feeling that there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of what's going on with him there, and his consent to this on a higher level and this being part of his mission and that kind of stuff. So back to interwebs. Let's just read this a little bit. History made as final Arizona ballot inspections completed. The Arizona, I'm not going to say the word, officially completed both the hand count and paper evaluation inspections yesterday, Friday. The audit workers will now vacate Veterans Memorial Coliseum and prepare to deliver a report to the Arizona Senate, which is big. That's big. It's, they finished up. Nothing, no crazy false flag happened. Thank goodness, at least that we saw. I was a little concerned about that kind of thing happening. Earlier this afternoon, volunteers slammed a box closed and cheered in celebration after the final ballots were inspected. TGB reported that the results would be released in 2 phases. One, on Monday, we may see a preliminary report which details the accuracy of the number of certified ballots. Whew, that could be huge. We then expect to see a full forensic report which details the forensic images and ballot findings. This is huge. Let's put a Y there, huge. On Monday or soon after, we will know the true number of ballots that were cast in Maricopa County. If it is drastically different than the number of certified ballots as expected with the discrepancies found, there will be severe consequences for this guy. I'm not going to say his name because I feel like it's a trigger word on YouTube. For them. Our beloved governor. Beloved. The Arizona State Senate will need to consider decertifying the results if they cannot prove that Biden was the winner. Attorney General Mark Brnovich will need to initiate an investigation into those involved in the scam and the cover-up. So on top of that, I just saw, I'm pretty sure, what else is about to go down, basically, is kind of what I'm thinking. Well, we had General Flynn basically allude to that something would be happening in the next couple weeks, potentially false flag type of event. By the way, if you guys are hearing a little bit of like static, I apologize for that. There's something about this mic that does not like my computer. I noticed that on an interview I did the other night, so apologize for that. Hopefully it's not too bad. Yes, the deep rig Cheshire. Thank you. I was about to mention that. So tonight in Arizona, someone that we've worked with in the past, a friend of ours, Roger Richards, has produced a documentary called The Deep Rig that has Flynn in it, has both Flynns, and will be exposing a lot of this stuff. I don't want to say the words because, again, trigger words, but let me see where we can find that, because I know they're doing a live stream. Here we go. So this is thedeeprig.com. And yeah, as far as the live stream, I'm not sure how they're doing that, if that's just going to be here. But you can watch the trailer here, and that's just thedeeprig.com. But yeah, that's going to be, I have a feeling that this is going to make very large ripples, as you might say, in the collective consciousness. So definitely check that out. If you are in the Phoenix area, there is a physical showing of that you can go to, red carpet premiere type thing, I'm pretty sure. So, man, are you guys hearing that? The staticky? Is it just me? I don't know what's going on. This was happening. So I did this interview. Maybe if you guys want to check it out, I think it's on Facebook on a page called The Cosmic Gateway, which is run by our friend Alicia Brachet. And I did an interview with her on there as a part of World Unity Week. And David Icke was also featured on there, and a bunch of other people. So if you want to check that out, I brought that up because that's where I noticed that my mic was doing the same thing. And I feel like it was because of the things I was talking about, because I've never had this problem before. Okay, some people hear it, some people don't. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal. But if you want to check out that interview, that's on the Cosmic Gateway page on Facebook. And on that, I really go into my kind of details of my personal awakening story that I haven't gone into on here as much, that maybe one day soon I will make a video about. But I talk about my time when I was in aerospace engineering in university, and basically how I woke up to the various black budget space program happenings that were going on, and how my professors inadvertently woke me up to this. And when I was president of the Aerospace Society, like I was working with one of the Air Force bases to do like talks with the students, and there was just a couple of funny stories in there about like things that happened that kind of woke me up to the black budget program. So if you want to check that out, Cosmic Gateway, and I tie it into cryptocurrency and how crypto, the potential of it being a galactic seeded technology here, how it relates to the secret space programs, how Flare Finance really tied that all together with their trailer that basically shows us doing interplanetary wormhole travel, and it's all running on Flare and Flare Finance and XRP, which I have. If you go to my channel, you can see I have a video analysis of that. But yeah, I kind of tie all that stuff together. Just a little plug if you guys want to check that out. A little staticky. Yeah, maybe it's just this mic. Next time I'll grab the other mic. But if it gets so bad that you guys can't hear me, let me know and I'll go swap out the mic. Welcome to Arizona, Crystal. Crystal 1111. Hopefully you can make it to our Family of Light gathering in Sedona, not too far from where you are. All right, let's pop back over here. Also, if there's anything random, because I know there's a lot of stories and I'm maybe not remembering right in the moment. Whoa. What is going on with the static? If there's any random stories that you guys want me to cover, we can look them up real quick or talk about or whatever. But yes, we've got this going on. Oh, I remember what it was. I was going to bring up the UFO disclosure and how it related to this and potentially what's going on in the month of July. So I'm going to pull up, and it's like how close I am to this thing. It's very weird. I'm going to pull up Telegram for Disclosed TV. And they really don't like me. Static. And I believe there was something new that they published about the UFO report. Oh shit, did it get released? Okay, it says UFO report has been delivered to the U.S. Congress and will be posted on its website later today. Office of Director of National Intelligence confirms. Now that was actually yesterday. And then they said UFO report has been released. Spoiler, 9 pages of hot air, not worth reading. Man. Staticky. That is so weird, you guys. It is my phone. It's totally my phone. Good thinking, Voxor. You just make it a dance party. Okay, I'm putting the phone away. So it was actually released yesterday, and it sounds like it was a nothing burger, at least according to Disclosed TV. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. Maybe we can just peek through it together right now. Let's see. DNI UFO report. Yeah, I kind of felt like it would be a nothing burger. I do feel there's more coming with this. So I think I mentioned, I just want to get the actual report. I don't want all the nonsense. I think I mentioned that there was a couple of channelings, QHHT session type things that referred to July being the big moment when this stuff would start to blow up. Let's just go to dni.gov and see if they have it on the homepage. They do. They actually have it on the homepage. That's pretty funny. Okay. Download the report. There we go. So in these various QHHT sessions, channelings, particularly Allison Coe, who does QHHT sessions, and what I really like about Allison Coe is that it's not like your average kind of channeling YouTube channel where, you know, the one person is channeling the same group or entities every time, and there can be kind of some discrepancy on the validity of the channel or whatnot. With Allison, she does QHHT sessions, which is quantum hypnosis healing therapy, and I think maybe there's a different version now that's like BHT. I forget what the other acronym is, but related to QHHT, hypnosis therapy. And she does all these sessions with dozens of different people, and so all of the material is coming from the individuals, and she's just guiding with questions, and all the details come from the clients. And so she will find patterns in the materials and then present the patterns as like, hey, basically I've done all these sessions with people, they don't know each other, they don't know anything, but they're all talking about these same things happening. So one of the things that was kind of being talked about was that, and this was back in May, they were saying that the report in June would basically be a nothing burger, which it kind of is. It definitely is. And like the fact that it came out yesterday, you know, I didn't even really hear about it, and then here we are looking at it and no one's really talking about it still. Nothing burger. But July is when I guess it seems like things would really start to heat up more. And it sounds like that July is when things will really start to kind of you know, I'm trying to think of like an idiom or a phrase. It's gonna come out of the can, and you can't put the worms back in the can. Is that a phrase? Sometimes I really feel like I struggle with this human thing. Put those worms back in the can. Basically, that there would continue to be reports that and sightings and things that people can no longer deny that would set the stage for a larger disclosure. And this is kind of something that I talked about in the past, as well as in like what timeline are we on with this UFO disclosure? Like, are we monkeys out of the bottle, says Angelito. Now you're just confusing me. There's kind of these different perspectives on how the disclosure would play out. And, you know, a large part of the UFO community, we've been hearing for years from different sources that the UFO card would be the final card that they play. It would be the last kind of distraction that they present in order to distract from the inevitable disclosures on a grander scale that are going on of, you know, the PEDOs and the trafficking and the you know, a number of different things, the financial resets, the crimes against humanity, like there's so much, the technologies that have been hidden. And so it's ironic because, you know, in a way, the UFO disclosure is one of the ultimate disclosures, right? And so that's one of the things that I keep kind of bringing forward is, you know, if this is a false flag type of disclosure, and, you know, some people are looking at it that way, and it could be that way because of the fact that the American military is saying that these are not their technologies and that the American military doesn't have access to these kind of technologies. Well, I don't believe that for a second, because obviously, as we've talked about a lot before, these black budget space programs exist. One of the things that I really dove into on this Cosmic Gateway interview with Alicia was how the Space Force was created as oversight for these various black budget military contractors and intelligence agencies, like the NRO and you know, the ULA, and how SpaceX and Space Force basically came in on either side of the government and private side of things. You know, Space Force being government, SpaceX being private, and took kind of took over the space game from the NRO and the ULA, and how, obviously we have technologies that are far more advanced than rocket technologies and propulsion, and we've been going to other planets, we've been going to other star systems, humans have, right? So we know that, of course, the US has these technologies. Well, coming down to semantics, it's hard to, say what access, these individuals, obviously they're not getting access to the highest level of intel about the programs of the Navy and the Air Force that are out there on like Titan and Saturn and Alpha Centauri and stuff like that. Like those don't really trickle down to the lower level Pentagon stuff as much from what I can tell. So it's possible they're acting in integrity when they're saying the reports came back with nothing at the military, but of course also they're going to deny that it's us. So kind of a deeper question is, well, if we're coming down to, the disclosure of this is one, if not both, of two options, right? This is either human technology or it's not human technology, right? But either way, this is technology that far surpasses anything that we've officially been allowed to know exists, anything that we can use or even talk about in the mainstream without being ridiculed. So it's either human, it's not human, or it's both. And which is more profound, right? Like what is the deeper disclosure? It would be pretty big for them to announce, hey, the US, the world powers, world governments, defense contractors, we think that they do have access to technologies that are, loosely called anti-gravity, or that can do these kind of maneuvers. That would be a pretty big disclosure. But isn't it somewhat of a much larger disclosure to officially admit that ETs exist and that we are being visited and that is reality, right? And I personally think that's the bigger disclosure. I think that on the dark side of things, what they're probably trying to do is, say they exist, and then already they're putting that fear narrative out there of, well, if we make contact, they could take over the whole Earth. If they make contact, they could destroy the Earth. This is not a smart idea to make contact with these beings. So what the dark is doing is they're acknowledging that life exists, but they're running with their own version of it and being like, have fear, right? Have fear. And I went on like an Instagram rant the other day, basically saying, if there were negative ETs out there that sought to take over our planet via invasion, it would have happened a long time ago. Would have happened thousands of years ago, right? There's a reason that 17 says infiltration over invasion, and that applies both directions, right? That applies dark to light, light to dark, I think. But the dark non-human entities prefer infiltration over invasion, because it's really just not smart to invade a planet. Like it's kind of dumb, it's if you're actually an intelligent species that has come here from afar, from another solar system or another galaxy, you're not going to just want to come here with a bunch of guns and laser cannons and invade the planet. Like there's laws of free will and quarantine laws that also apply that prevent that from happening. So just to kind of nip it in the bud on that kind of fear thing, that there won't be a negative ET invasion. I know another theory is that there could be a Project Bluebeam type of fake alien invasion. And sure, that I think that's always a possibility, in the sense that anything's a possibility, but this is something that we've been hearing for like decades now, right? Like the Bluebeam stuff really was coming out way before I was even into it, like in the 90s and before even. And I really feel that any potential timeline of any kind of holographic Project Bluebeam type fake invasion is just not going to happen. I don't feel that. I really feel like we are on this timeline that we've already won the war energetically. There's still things to be dealt with and shadows that are squirming to regain control, but really the war has been won. Maybe there's a few more battles left on the small scale, but the war is already won. And because of that, I don't see any negative invasion happening. And what I think that they're really going to try to do is, I think that, there's been so many, I wish I could pull it up. There's been so many video reports and videos starting to surface just daily of UFOs, of galactic craft, or maybe they're military. We don't really know, but the best way to really know is to tune into it empathically, intuitively, to open up your third eye, open up your heart, and communicate with these craft, with your energy body. And that's really the only way that you'll know what they are. And oftentimes you can see when you do that, when you become open to being perceptive to, say, like the aura of it, you can see it. Like I remember a couple years ago, there was this event in LA called Disclosure Fest, and there was something in the sky that was hanging out watching us. We all saw it. It was triangle shaped, and it had a dirty aura. It was like you could literally see a brown orb around it. And I don't know if that was a physical brownness or if that was a perceptive auric brownness, but you compare that to some of these other craft that you see either videos of or see in person. It's much easier, obviously, to do this in person. It's hard to read an aura or an energy signature over video. It's still possible, but it's harder. When you compare it to, say, the kind of craft you see here in Sedona, it's very different. You feel a very different energy signature for them. So I think that for people like us that are in tune with this or even open to these possibilities, it's going to be really important for us to be the grounded voices of reason and logic when a bunch of the media starts screaming, don't talk to these beings. Like, yeah, we acknowledge they exist, but they're probably going to take over the planet. That's probably what they're going to be trying to play the fear card of in the distraction narrative. So it's, pulling it back into the, what's going on in Arizona with that whole thing with, this thing, where are we? With this thing, it's really well timed on their end that, this is wrapping up and we're going to get or this is done and we're going to get a report soon. And then, the other report was just dropped yesterday, nothing burger, but it's like, there's still more coming. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like a lot of what I'm feeling is something that is non-human. Like there is something coming that is going to be some kind of display of disclosure or something like that. And a lot of us have had dreams of this kind of stuff. Alexis and I have had dreams of this. I know countless other people have had dreams of craft. Basically, it's like the vibe is like disclosure is starting now, and we're kind of all in a different place and seeing different craft. And like I remember seeing one in particular that was like literally the German style UFO craft. Now that would be obviously more human, so maybe that would be a more of an example of like a human initiated disclosure if they're flying around the old Nazi looking clanky metal crafts. But that's what I saw in my dream. And but I do feel that something on the galactic disclosure side of things is coming, something pure that is not human, directly human affiliated or led. So we'll have to stay discerning about all this, and I'm trying to stay pretty like neutral on, not jumping to conclusions about this whole disclosure narrative within the government, and not trying to say it's strictly a false flag or strictly real legit disclosure, because I think there are competing narratives. I think just like with the pandemic, it was something that was intended to be one thing by the dark powers and was co-opted by the light. And we're seeing similar types of timelines play out as far as the events. Like with the pandemic, it still played out, but, it wasn't a deadly disease like 99.9% of people, or, virus, whatever it wasn't killing people. They had to make up all the numbers and pretend that other people dying from other stuff were dying from this. So, but I think that was the co-opted part of it, is that they used the dark timeline that they were going to do. They co-opted it and they used it against them to reveal what was going on. And if you guys have seen the show Sweet Tooth on Netflix, it really dives into that in a lot of ways, and it's pretty good. I finally finished it a couple days ago, and I don't watch really any Netflix because Netflix is all pretty satanic feeling now, and most of the streaming services are. But that Sweet Tooth show, the first scene, I'll warn you guys, is a little intense. If you're, an empath, the first scene is kind of like what the collapse was supposed to be, I think. But they really cover a lot of things that expose what was going on with the dark powers and what they were trying to do, and it's pretty funny. There's a scene where like these two guys are standing in hazmat suits and they're like cleaning the hospital or something, and the one guy takes his mask off and the other guy starts freaking out, and he's like, isn't that what you're not supposed to do? Like, you're supposed to keep your mask on. And the guy's like, do you even know? Well, at first he's like we've sanitized this place 20 times, we're outside, nothing's gonna happen. This is what they want you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid and keep your mask on. And he's like, who's they? And he's like, big pharma, the government, whoever wants you in fear. And then he's like, do you even know what's in that mask you're wearing? And the guy's like, no. And he's like, exactly. He's like, those masks with all the chemicals and stuff in them are 2,000 times deadlier than this virus. And the guy was just like, oh. It was pretty funny. Whoa, Voxor, you had a dream last night of blue people. That's awesome. I would love to hear more about that. Hey, Brookie, good to see you in here. Johnny says we got to get a spaceship. I want to work on it. When the floodgates open of the financial reset, whatever form it takes, when this flood of XRP and crypto value and whatever various forms these financial resets take, because I think that there's going to be a lot. I am pretty set on starting my own aerospace company and creating the kinds of technology that I got so pissed off when I was in college that we weren't working on, doing all these stupid ass equations for rockets and orbital mechanics. And I'm like, this is bullshit. This is all, they act like this is such a prestigious thing. And it's just a bunch of mind slaves that are, it was horrible. I was so jaded about that whole industry. So to create a new aerospace industry that actually has technology that's actually going to help the people, where we can go and we can find these locations, we can definitively prove the planet size to anyone that's still questioning the planet size, so everyone's on the same page, because the planet shape and size and the structure of the universe has been a big way that they've separated people. When we are fighting about what even the shape of our planet is, how are we supposed to come together over anything? So definitively prove that. And then start answering all these questions about where humanity comes from, what our origins are, what these ancient builder races are, what are these pyramids in Antarctica, what are these pyramids on Mars, what are these pyramids inside the Earth. So to explore and answer questions like that and like bring back humanity's inner child, I think is a big part of that mission too, of like rediscovering who we are and what our place is in the cosmos. Angelito, get your vaccine or the ETs will get you. Yeah, I think it reminds me of, I think it was in one of those Alice & Co videos as well, which, by the way, Alice & Co and Journey to Truth will be doing a video tonight on the Journey to Truth channel live. So if you haven't heard of them and you're like, who are these people I'm talking about? It would be a good opportunity to check out a video from them live on Journey to Truth podcast tonight. And I believe it was in one of the Alice & Co videos that they were talking about there would be some kind of landing event is what this person was seeing. It was like in the days before there was some kind of solar flash, solar flare type of event. There would be a mass landing event where a lot of the people on Earth would before this point be in this dazed state, presumably from the, VAX. They would be in this kind of dazed, confused, zombie-like state, which kind of reminds me of, CIA and all these groups have all these actual procedure measures for zombie apocalypse type situations, and what we would do. Like, they play it off as a joke, but I'm pretty sure it's like a real procedure that they have in their archives on what to do in case of a zombie apocalypse. So what this person was describing was that a lot of people were in this dazed state, and that the people who were not affected by it, which are presumably the people that did not get the injection, were helping people onto these ships. And it sounded like it was because these people who got the injection essentially were not going to make it through this solar flare, whatever you want to call it, type event. It would have just fried their systems. And so they needed to get them off planet. And so, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but that was very interesting. And then Mr. Poole posted these clips, which, by the way, I'll pull up some Mr. Poole and see if I can find him. Mr. Poole posted these photos that, to me, looked very much like the arches. Oh, here it is. There we go. Bam. I know this could be perceived as a lot of different things, but of course, Mr. Poole has accurately predicted many, many events, natural disasters, physical events happening, market crashes, you name it, like tons of different things. And so to me, this looked like, I don't know, the doors of a ship opening or something of the like. And then also posted this, which is like, looks like hyperspeed travel, interstellar travel, and this as well. So source light at the end of the tunnel, very esoteric looking images. So that's what I mentally thought of when I saw this, was thinking about that kind of event, and who knows. All right, Voxar says, my dream was a bit weird. Had a Native American dude fighting off colonizers, and we rode on horses past a hut with blue people trapped in a wooden cage type thing. We did a lap looking for more, and they had disappeared. Wow. Wow. Lots of people have been getting memories back in dream time. Past memories, future memories. There's a lot of, parallel timeline type things that are starting to bleed through. And I think this is something that is going to continue to happen as we move closer to this quantum leap that we are, feels like exponentially racing towards. And I've really been going through a lot of like inner work, as I'm sure we all have, with like feeling like preparing for this. And you could take all the speculative woo-woo spiritual cosmic type stuff out of it if you're not in resonance with that, although I know most people, if you're here, like you probably are. But even if you want to take that all and just kind of look at things logically, I feel personally, and from lots of other people's personal experiences too, that things are getting more interesting. I don't want to say tougher or harder necessarily, but it's like, to a degree, things are getting kind of harder to deal with on a day-by-day basis. And, like emotionally and physically for some people too. Physically, maybe the 3D things going on in their lives, but it's like the energy's picking up intensely. And I feel like more than ever, this divide within me of the old part of me that wants to, say, sit on my phone and scroll through, it's 1:11 right now, scroll through like, Instagram or Telegram or things that I still find, bring me joy, like keeping up with the world, events and things like that. But I definitely reached this point where I'm like, okay, is this actually serving me? And I especially this past 2 weeks, I've really like felt it more than ever of like, I gotta put my phone down. I don't want to be near my phone. And I'll turn off my phone and just like leave it in another room. and I just feel so much more present. I feel so much better. It makes me want to take a social media detox, but personally, I'm not going to do it until after we get through this gathering that we're hosting, because it wouldn't be smart to just jump off social media for the next month. But after that, I think I really am going to take a detox, at least for like a week or something, and I don't know, maybe are you feeling that as well? Like the increasing duality of where our vibration is at, and the things that are healthy for us and serving us versus the things that are not healthy and are draining us. And it's really showing me like where technology has got to be going too, right? Because if me being on my phone is super depressing, honestly, like I just feel depressed when I'm using my phone. The screen, the lack of physical interaction, it makes me not want to go out and like be with people or talk to people. Where was I going with that? Basically that finding that being in nature, and of course it's just so much better, and being present with life is so much better. And the technology thing, that's where I was going. So like if it's already hard for us to be on our phones and do these other things, but simultaneously we're looking at a future with a lot of increased technology, I've been trying to rationalize that in my being, and I feel like what we're moving towards is technology that is more bioharmonic, more in tune with our auric fields and our minds and our spirits and our bodies. And I feel that feels pretty aligned to me, that, we could still have maybe similar types of devices, maybe like phones and screens and stuff, but I think every aspect of them, when we choose this as a collective, when we as individuals are empowered enough to actually be working on, these companies, or, we get rid of Google and Samsung and Apple, and we end up putting our own New Earth light workers into creating technologies like this, we're going to re-engineer every part of it to make it bioharmonic and adaptable and what's the word? Like helping with our energy and our bioharmonic systems and our magnetic field and all that stuff. So, how like when you go to an airport right now, or you go next to a cell phone tower and you just feel so drained, like you feel like crap and you feel super stressed, and, typically, right? Like when you're in these kind of busy city places like that. Imagine if every airport or every cell tower or whatever, whatever we're using instead of cell towers or whatever, Starlink, actually, imagine them emitting bioharmonic frequencies that actually help our bodies and our minds. And it's like you're near it and you're like, whoa, this feels like a sauna for all of the cells in my body. I feel so nourished being around this. And thinking about like every kind of public place being like that, and all these places that feel draining are now like empowering, and they're like helping us, and they're healing our fields, whether they're emitting 528 hertz or whatever frequencies or whatever types of energy fields. And it may sound crazy, but I actually feel like Starlink has been doing this. There's something about Starlink, about Elon Musk's satellite constellation Starlink. There's something about them that is actually magical. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that they have put this kind of technology on the satellites, or if there are galactics that are somehow working along. But if you guys have seen Starlink at all, tell me your personal experiences with this. But here in Sedona, where, we have no light pollution really, because it's like a law that you have to there's no street lights, you have to keep your porch lights off and things like that for the most part. You can see the stars really, really easily. And when the few times that like large amounts of, which is weird because you think this would be on a more regular schedule, like every night or at least every week or something. But there's only been a few times in the last couple months that large amounts of people around Sedona have reported seeing what they've told us is Starlink. And every time people are like, there's something more to this. Like when you look at them, and again, I don't know if it's like this in say LA or other places where there's more light pollution, but here when you look at them, there is like, even as a person like myself who is kind of classically trained to look at a satellite and say, yeah, that has the characteristics of a satellite, you know, it does this and this, like how they trained us in university. These don't follow that. They're weird. They're constellations of things, but they move at different intervals and they have different spacings between them. And then there's things flying next to them that are brighter and shimmering, and like, it's really weird. And everyone gets this feeling in their heart and their being of like, oh my God, this is exciting. Like, whoa. And that's that kind of feeling I'm talking about, that, you know, of tapping into these kind of craft, whatever they are, whether they're satellites or military or ET, tapping into them. And it's like, what kind of energy field are we getting reflected back at us when we ping at them? You know, what are they emitting? And something about these Starlink constellations there's something actually magical about them. So yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think that it's something built into it, or I'm honestly leaning towards that what we've been seeing, at least physically, is that there's like other things out there flying in the constellation that maybe are trying to make themselves known as part of disclosure in the same way that a lot of these sightings have been happening all over the country and the world for the past year, at an increased rate. Johnny says, I thought I was looking at Starlink until it turned and disappeared into deep space. It turned? That's weird. See, disappearing kind of makes sense, right? Because I'll tell you guys, like, classically, the behavior that a satellite typically experiences, like how you could, you know, a few signs that something is a satellite and not something else, is that usually you will see it right after sunset, right? Because the sun, so if this is the Earth and this is the sun, and oh God, this is a bad example, but let's say the sun is setting, while you won't see the light on the surface of the Earth because the sun is set, there's still light rays shining in the upper atmosphere as like an hour or two after sunset. And so satellites that are up here will reflect those little bits of light, but then as they reach a certain point, they get behind the light, and so they will disappear immediately like that. And so if it's an actual satellite, typically what you'll see is you'll see it going, and then it kind of gets brighter right before it goes away. And I've seen a lot of people go, oh, that's the, you know, the craft powering up and stuff. And, you know, maybe sometimes they do that. They definitely do on some occasions, but you can tell when it's a satellite because it'll be doing that. It'll kind of waver in brightness. It'll get really bright and then it'll disappear. But if Johnny, like you're saying, if it turns, satellites don't turn. So that's definitely a sign that it was something else. Scientific Mystic says, I'm not familiar enough with Starlink, but the correct term for many ships is Merkaba. Yeah, do you mean that Merkaba actually translates to many ships, or like I'm obviously I know what the Merkaba is in terms of the star tetrahedron, but are you saying that they will like make Merkabas in the sky, or that they are Merkabas themselves? Spiritual beings or conglomerates of beings in interdimensional space. I guess that's how to explain it. Interesting. Yeah. I resonate with that. Those kind of things, more energetic type beings that are out there. One of my most like personal experiences with like an energetic type of craft was when I was at SEDI a couple years ago, and we had the night vision goggles, and there were so many things in the sky that you just couldn't explain, orbs. But what really got me was when these things would react to my observations of them, right? So obviously a satellite is not going to react to your observation of it. But some of these orbs I was looking at, it was like, so one of them, right when I looked at it, was coming across the sky super fast, like a shooting star, straight line. Right when I looked at it, it stopped on a dime, like stopped instantly, like boop, boop, right when I looked at it. And I was just staring at it going, I could see you, right? Like, I know you're there. I just saw you flying across the sky at super fast, thousands or millions of miles an hour and then stops on a T right when I look at it. And then another one was kind of doing a similar thing, but it was doing all these like loop-de-loops and like flying around. And then there was one that was doing that, and then another similar one that it was kind of floating around, and then when I looked at it, it like started to kind of freak out like a bug, you know? And it was like, the feeling I had was that it could feel my conscious awareness on it, and it wasn't prepared for that because it thought it was invisible, because I was using these night vision goggles, and it started to kind of like fade out, and then it just like it just dimmed into nothing. It like kind of started to do this, and then it just like dimmed into nothingness. But it was a super bright thing moving across the sky before that. So when I had those experiences, it was very, that was the most like tangibly validating craft experiences I've seen for orbs and that kind of thing. Awareness detector on these ships, says Angelito. I think what I was seeing was less of like a physical ship, and it felt more like a consciousness, like an orb of consciousness, which, you know, if this is what they call light ships, or a higher 5th, 6th dimensional density type ship, it wouldn't appear physical to us. It would be an energy. And so it's hard to say at that point, like, you know, to break down in our language what these things are beyond a certain point of energy, because we can only really look at things in, you know, as Carl Sagan puts it, in like our projection of the higher dimensions. So like, I was just rewatching this old Carl Sagan clip where he's talking about a tesseract, and he's like, you know, the tesseract is the 4th dimensional cube, but we can only look at it as the 3rd dimensional shadow of this 4th dimensional cube. And the 3rd dimensional shadow is a cube within a cube. So you can look at it and it's a cube within a cube. But if it's a 4th dimensional cube, it's got this whole other energy field of space-time going on. And so it could be similar to that, where we're seeing like a 5th, 6th plus dimensional object, but we're only seeing the 3rd density dimensional projection of that. And it appears, I think most of the time, as like an orb or a Merkaba type object. Farron says, oh my God, I just tuned in. I totally predict that Elon will save the day with Starlink. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I know a lot of people, obviously this is something we go back and forth on here a lot if you know, watch every week, but the deepest down levels of my heart and gut tell me that Elon is here for a positive soul mission, and that it's going to awaken. His personal awakening experience is going to awaken a lot of people. You know, obviously, as the richest person on the planet, he's got a lot of eyes on him. It's also important to note that he only became the richest person on the planet and made over $100 billion after Mr. T came into office, and after all these mass arrests of the CEOs happened, and after all these big shifts happened. Then all of a sudden, Elon went from 20 billion to 130 billion, or whatever he's worth now, right? Like 100 billion in a year. And of course, the media looks at that and goes, well, he made all this money off of the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. But I think, you know, if you look deeper, it's related to the connections that are going on and the movement of money of these positive groups and where they're putting it. And I feel something positive coming out of all this. And Starlink, you know, we've kind of talked about Starlink being the quantum internet being set up already. So, you know, right now the internet is kind of, well, not even kind of, it's pretty much controlled by the dark forces. Like, there's not really any actual freedom to the internet. If we get blockchain based internet, that would be actual freedom on the internet, because no one would be able to censor, control, do all that. But with the current internet networks, it's basically like, you know, the internet is just a bunch of networks of servers. So they're picking who has what information, which servers are allowed to run, which ones are where, you know, they control all of that. So just like with the banking and financial system, when I keep trying to tell people, when people come to me and they're like, well, don't you think crypto is going to the cashless digital system? No, we're already there. We're already in the cashless system. Cash is never going to go away, but we're already as pretty much as cashless as you can get. Like, cash is so worthless now. The dollar related to other foreign currencies is just plummeting. And right now, the majority of people's money, like I was saying earlier, is in the banks, and that's all fake. There's nothing actually backing that up. You know, if everyone were to go and try to pull out their assets at the same time, there'd be a huge meltdown. It's like what happened during the Great Depression, kind of. So what blockchain and crypto do for us is that they take us from a completely baseless, fraudulent digital system, which we're already on and have been on since the 90s when they created all these computer networks, and we're going to be going to a decentralized, pure, basically God vibration digital system, where it's and I say God vibration like it is much more aligned with the vibration of God and transparency and free information than the current system is. So when people, you know, if someone says to you like, well, isn't that enabling the NWO? Isn't that going to cash the system? Well, only if you're supporting the NWO projects like Bitcoin and Ethereum and things like that. But most people still don't realize that Bitcoin and Ethereum and those guys don't represent all of crypto. And it's like, you know, if they do, count me out of crypto. I don't want to be involved in crypto if Bitcoin represents everything, but it doesn't, right? That's why we need these like interledger protocol coins and the ISO 20022 coins and, you know, XRP, XLM, XDC, not necessarily any one of these, but having an ecosystem of currencies that will enable physical assets, right? So if Bitcoin gets to be the king like it wants to be, which we don't want it to be, right? That would be the one world coin. That would be the coin to rule them all. Like that post Elon made, insinuating that. And then right after that, you know, he starts trashing Bitcoin. So it's another sign to me that they're doing this as a part of the light. But we don't want one coin to rule them all. We don't want a Facebook Libra token or anything like that. XRP and Ripple were actually against the Facebook Libra token, like battling essentially in politically. They were very much enemies energetically. So going from the current system, which is totally fraudulent, totally controlled by the banking cartels, and going to a system where you and I are put on the same even playing field as the banking cartels. Everything is transparent. Nothing can be censored. Nothing can be blocked or changed or manipulated. You know, for the most part, of course, we'll always have to adapt with these kind of technologies and like, especially with quantum computers and things coming like that. But I think it really drives home a point when you explain to people that have fear around what they think is leaving a cash system and going to a digital system. You explain to them, we're already on the digital system. Your bank account is all fake. It's all ones and zeros in someone's computer, right? Based off the big banks, if that's who you're using. But with XRP and Flare and these other decentralized projects of the light, it's going to be, there's actually going to be value behind those numbers. It's not just numbers in a computer system somewhere. There's actually algorithms behind it and utility and purpose, you know? And I think that Starlink is really connected to that. I think that in the same way, you know, we're talking about the financial system, for the internet system, which is, of course, very much tied into this, they control the old internet system. So what's the only way to really guarantee that we're going to get the transparent quantum internet system that we want? Well, it's just to create it and put it in a place like space that they can't do jack shit about it, right? So say, for instance, the cabal, okay, here's a potential timeline. Various forms of disclosure start coming out from all different areas. Cabal is trying to stop it. The cabal puts a blackout on the internet, basically their controlled version where they're like, okay, no one's gonna be able to read or access any of this. Then you have the quantum internet system, essentially, that I think is basically already being set up through these various satellite networks and nodes, that is now the backup. And then you just turn that online and they can't do anything about it because they don't control it. It's decentralized. It's owned and operated by the people. That's where I see these things going. And I really do feel Starlink has a big role to play in that. Oh yeah, Abby is asking about McAfee. McAfee. I don't know. I don't even know how to say his name right. I say McAfee. Is that right? I haven't talked about him yet, so thanks for bringing that up. We will get into that. Brooke says energies are ramping up because they are scared of us all waking up and stepping into our own power. Tech cleanse and getting in nature is so good for the soul. Yep. So it's like we're cleansing from the old, dark owned tech. And I do think we have tech in our future, but it's going to be tech that's way more aligned with this cleansing and with the new energies that we're going to be embodying. And, who knows what will really happen? Like, it's possible post-quantum shift. It really depends how much changes in this quantum shift with this solar flare type event. If this happens, like, it's potential all technology could actually be wiped out, and we're going to have to start from square one, which is totally cool with me if that's what the universe decides, we'll all be in the same place, right? Or maybe it'll be more minor and, maybe it'll be more gradual where these older tech companies start to fall. Financial resets happen. People like us come into much larger amounts of wealth, and we're able to create that change we want to see because nothing can stop what's coming. And now we actually have the empowerment back in our hands, and maybe it'll be more of a gradual replacement of technology. But either way, I could see either kind of timeline happening, and I feel like I'm prepared for both, or at least I'm trying to be the best I can. Everyone that's hanging out, I give you guys props for hanging out and talking about these topics, because I know a lot of these topics are kind of some, I don't know, maybe taboo, or some people might say woo-woo, or topics that kind of trigger people. But I much prefer being able to just let it go and talk about this stuff and have no fear than try to over control the things so that we get more viewers or more clicks or whatever. I realize that my channel's kind of smaller because I talk about a lot of this stuff, and it's so many different kind of out there things, but at the same time I'm so grateful of the community that we've created here, and that we have such an awesome tight community of like-minded people who really understand and get all these things, and we're constantly sharing with each other and learning from each other. And it's just, I'm so grateful to have that. I'd much rather have this any day over a huge channel where, I only get to talk about one thing because I'm afraid to talk about the other things that I really like, which I find for a lot of the big YouTubers, they kind of have to do. But I'm not here to be a YouTuber anyway. YouTube is just the platform we happen to be streaming on. Hopefully we get something better sooner that is more for the people. Call to action for all the programmers out there to really make something amazing in terms of social media, internet's, conversation stimulating type platforms. I know there's been a lot of successful platforms that have tried that, like Gab, and not so successful ones that turned out to be not good, like Parler, and Telegram's doing okay, but we need something different. We need something run by people like you guys that get it, and that can really go to the next level with what we need. Because I feel like a lot of these platforms are just they're not changing too much up from the old structure, right? We need something that's boldly different. Oh, the video looks better? Cool. I am indoors today with my normal studio setup back, so, or I get it's a little smaller on this side of the camera than my normal studio, but from what you guys can see, it probably looks the same. Thank you, Abby. Love the diversity. What's up, Jake? Good to see you, man. Oddity, thank you. And it's a good time, to point out again, come on and hang with us at the Family of Light Gathering in Sedona, in the Red Rocks, in the Vortices. It's going to be an amazing opportunity for us to take all these energies and all this potential energy that, you know, on my channel or other people's channels, these larger communities, even though we're niche, we're getting to be large communities that are actually making a difference across the various parts of social media in the world. But I really feel, and I'm not just saying this because it's our event, right? But it is our event, which is something I guess some people didn't realize. We have friends reaching out that are like, hey, are you going to this event? And we're like, oh yeah, that's our event. But aside from it being our event, I really feel that this is going to be an amazing opportunity to ground in the pillars of light that we're going to need to make the changes that we want on the planet. And Sedona is like a really powerful place to do these kind of activations. And every time there's gatherings like this, whether it's a couple people or a couple hundred people, it's always so powerful. So really recommend you guys do that. We are doing a flash sale right now for the weekend, over $100 off on the normal tickets. It's a great deal, and that's really to try to like give back to the community who, you know, like myself, there's been a lot of times where I haven't been able to go to conferences I wanted because I just couldn't afford it. And so we want to open that up for people who need that or have been calling for that kind of opportunity. So let's see. We'll talk about Mr. John here, found dead in his prison cell. I feel like I don't have a ton of explicit thoughts on this other than it's like pretty interesting, and I feel most of the people have pretty much covered, you know, the general thoughts. To me, it does feel something planned, and it actually feels like something planned from the positive. I know that there's a lot of controversy around him and the things he's done, and you know, I'm not even going to pretend to like, I'm not going to label him as a good person or a bad person or a you know, white hat or the opposite or whatever. I don't know at this point, but I do get the feeling that he was, I feel like he's still alive, and I don't feel that way anymore about Epstein. I felt like Epstein was actually dead from the moment that we were told he was dead. Obviously, he didn't kill himself, but this feels kind of like a similar situation, but like opposite. It feels like he actually got saved, but I know it doesn't, my logical mind doesn't totally wrap my head around that, but it does feel like it just feels like he got removed for a positive reason, and I feel like he's still out there in some form. Farron says, I think he's still alive. Johnny, yes, we do take XRP for the Family of Light Gathering. Yep. If you want to send via XRP, just go to the crypto. You know what's so funny? I just realized yesterday we changed it, but the crypto part of the website, it said Critpo. I was like, man, this is because we made this in Mercury retrograde. It said Critpo. It should be like the new HODL. We'll just start saying Critpo. But yeah, if you wanna donate via XRP for your registration, you can do that here. So yeah, with McAfee, you know, it's really interesting that the building in Florida collapsed where supposedly he had important documents, is what I've been hearing lately. And then that was, you know, right down the street from where Ivanka and Jared were supposedly staying. And there, you know, there's been a lot of articles I've seen in the MSM lately too, talking about how they are, you know, falling away from Trump basically, which is hilarious because I don't know who would actually believe, say, CNN's word over any of the Trump family themselves. And all the sources from the articles were like, White House staffers and administrators within the White House are reporting that Ivanka and Jared are distancing themselves from Trump. And it's just, it's like such a high rating of BS that obviously we can all pretty smell it out from a distance. But the fact that they were there, right? same time the building fell, supposedly, and then he had apparently paperwork inside the building. The other thing that happened was there was the 17th letter of the alphabet was posted on his Instagram page after he supposedly died. And so, there's a lot of different theories about that. I don't really have any particular opinions about that other than, what kind of it looks like on the surface. People did pull up a tweet or a Facebook post or something from must have been a tweet, because I'm pretty sure it said that this was from like a couple months ago, I think. I'm pretty sure it said that he doesn't use Facebook or Instagram and that anything on there is not really him. So it gives a little bit of different context for what was posted there. It's possible that was posted there because, I guess the most obvious thing would be that he's connected to that group and is a part of this in a good way. But maybe on the flip side, it was the dark agents who did that to kind of stir the pot and create something to attack him over, or who knows. There's so many moving pieces and questions that haven't been answered at this point that it's really hard to put a finger on exactly what's going on. What else was him? There were these Ethereum contracts that were, okay, so he said he had a dead man's trigger, right? Which means that when he dies, there's supposedly, according to him, 31 terabytes of information that were going to be released. And there were these Ethereum-based contracts that started being deployed right after he died that were apparently coming from a wallet that was connected to him. And these contracts, I didn't see anything more specifically about what they held, but essentially what I see you could do with that is you could send not only money, but you could send information, depending on what kind of contract it was with the blockchain and Ethereum, that could have been the dead man switch going out. So I was getting a lot of messages from people showing me that. I haven't heard anything else about that since then, but that is something to keep an eye on, what's going on with these various crypto wallets that seem to be connected to him. And I'm sure that will develop more in the coming weeks as well. And there was a viral video going around, obviously an older video again, of him doing an interview where he admits to basically going after the Clintons because he had a totally legal passport and they wouldn't let him into the U.S. Embassy. He said from the highest up in the State Department, which would have been Clinton, they had orders to not let him in. And so he got super pissed and he admitted to loading up the government computers with malware and basically getting all this data on them. So it does seem like it's a large possibility that, regardless of McAfee's previous, it always seemed like he was against the dark powers that were, right? Like, it does feel that way, even though he was kind of chaotic and seems like he was a drunk and maybe had done all this other negative stuff too. I could see if he was used or if he joined forces with the positive groups, at the very least, to help divulge some of this information, because the fact that the McAfee antivirus software that he created was, aside from this particular situation, I believe that they said that multiple government agencies were using the McAfee software on their computers anyway, for multiple years in the past. And so there's the potential for all that data there. And that kind of connects to like Palantir and Peter Thiel with Palantir, and how Palantir had been collecting all this data on Epstein and Epstein's friends and things like that. So yeah, there's a big connection there. I gotta go pee real quick, so I'm gonna throw it on. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. I'm gonna throw it. Am I back? You couldn't hear me? Can you hear me now? Embarrassing. Thank you. Apparently I didn't set up the thing on that channel. Yeah, I guess everything I said was quiet then, huh? Bummer. I think, okay, I basically just talked about the Schwacht and how he had the Schwacht tattooed on him, and that overall I get a better feeling from this than I do, or I get a more positive feeling from this whole thing going on with McAfee than I do a negative feeling. Okay, good. We're back. Good. Thanks, everybody. Alexis Ascension Diaries just posted the link for Family of Light if you want to get on that flash sale. You wanted to mute your peeing, and we respected that. At least you heard that that's where I was going, and I didn't just like mute it and get up and leave. All right, let's move on here. So we can kind of go into crypto a little bit, talk about OBS always does this. Hold on, you guys. There's a glitch with OBS and the internet. Come on. There we go. It's like I have to scroll through the things a bunch of times before it actually pops up. Okay, let's talk about some cryptos a little bit. So, yes, Quant, Angelito points out, Quant has been going like crazy. Quant, I'm sad to say I don't actually own any Quant. I wish I did. I probably should just get some, but for some reason I haven't. But Quant is a great project. It's similar to XRP in a lot of ways. It, of course, is a Q. It's been one of the only cryptos that has actually been going up throughout this, and that's because of its utility and its, well, I attribute it to its utility and its very low coin amount. So I think there's only 14 or 12 million, even less, 12 million Quant coins in supply. So that's opposed to like Bitcoin, which is what, like 30 million or something like that. So even less than that. So Quant is a good project. I recommend looking into that. Everything's been kind of lulling because of Bitcoin lately, right? There's been a lot of projected news stories that the Blockchain Backer YouTube does a good job of kind of talking about how well timed these news stories, whether it's about China and China taking out the miners or it's Elon Musk tweeting, how these are very connected to when things in the market would naturally be changing anyway. And I think it's waking up a lot of people to that. And, you know, it's hard to say, it's hard to classify it as like negative manipulation or positive. I think there's definitely both going on. But I think ultimately, you know, being on this timeline of that we've already won the war, it's all ultimately positive in a sense. But one thing that, you know, Mr. Poole has been alluding to a lot is a big crash coming, right? So a big crash, but then also a lot of like joyous things like the golden sun and the golden kind of timeline energy. Now this PRX page reposts Mr. Poole. So if you're not familiar with Mr. Poole is kind of like 17, very connected, has predicted a lot of things, but it's done via images instead of with texts, images and videos. And the way Mr. Poole does it is Mr. Poole will only keep a certain amount of things on their Twitter page, and everything else gets posted and deleted instantly. So other pages like this PRX page, which is PRX113, they will repost the things later. Later, Earthworth. Thanks for hanging out. Jake, are you asking how does quants tie into XRP, or how does what tie into XRP? And see you later too, Scientific Mystic. Peace out. So Pool has been setting a lot of things like, the stage is being set and things like that. A lot of these reaction type things again. And justice and maybe unknown events occurring. And it reminds me of, I posted this on my Instagram recently, which if you want to follow me, it's at Jace DeFace. I'll throw it in the comments because my name's a little weird to spell. But I posted this on Instagram recently. It was a video from Mr. Robot. And I guess someone said it might have even been like the last scene of the last episode or something. So hopefully it's not spoilers if anyone's watching it. I haven't seen it. But it's basically like they're sitting on a park bench and the girl's like, look around you, like just shh and look around you, see what happens. And all of the people in the park that they're in start getting texts and calls and notifications on their phones. And it's the financial reset. So it's basically like they're getting, I don't know, potentially thousands or millions of dollars to kind of make it look like, and they phrase it as like this was the money being given back to the people, and they took it from like the big crook billionaire corporations and stuff, and it was being distributed through what they called their eCoin accounts, which if you've seen the show is probably something you know. I haven't seen the show, so I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds a lot like, crypto, right? Or something similar, digitized money, where they're just like able to put it in people's accounts like that. And it was so validating of this kind of timeline that we've been talking about with Mr. Poole and the financial reset and things like that. The fact that that was in a mainstream TV show. So I feel it's likely there's going to be some kind of crash before that happens. And I'm feeling what they're going to do is that Bitcoin will inevitably crash, and it will drag down everything with it for a short time period, probably. Could see XRP go back down to like, I don't know, even sub 30 cents maybe. And then that's when the Phoenix will rise, I suspect. And that's when, it really depends on how this utility switch is turned on, because there's the normal market cycles that happen. And that's what all these kind of market analysis and things with the predictive prices get to a certain point. That's the natural kind of speculative market analysis. But on top of that, there's all this crazy stuff going on with regulations and utility and all that stuff. So when will it happen is really the question. When will the utility come in? And I assumed that it's going to be perfectly timed with something that's happening in the natural market cycle that they can amplify, right? So in the natural market cycle in the past, it was only when Bitcoin started to make its permanent withdrawal back into the bear market that XRP in particular and the other altcoins, but really XRP did its crazy like 18,000% increase from like less than half a cent to $3.80. So if we're looking at that again, what would happen would be when Bitcoin starts to make its inevitable drop back down in its normal market cycle, which you could argue it's kind of doing right now, but we don't know if there's going to be some, if we're going to set a new all-time high with Bitcoin, because if we do set a new all-time high, we'll definitely see the altcoins go up with that, but they won't, from what I've seen from the analysis, like the more expert analysis. I'm not an expert analysis by any means. I just listen to them. It'll cause the altcoins to go up with it, but they won't rocket. They won't moon like they would when Bitcoin permanently goes down. And and permanently, I mean in the short term, next couple years, because that's when the money, people are selling out of Bitcoin and then they're putting it into XRP and this other stuff. So the other kind of thing tied in with that is the flare networks. And when Flare Networks will launch. So again, Flare Networks and Flare Finance are two different things. Security. There we go. So we've been hearing for quite some time now that Flare Networks would drop. It was supposed to drop sometime like May, April, then they kind of pushed it back to June, July. Last we heard it was late June, early July. So to me, this whole time it's felt like they're waiting for something. Like they're waiting for whatever this thing is that's supposed to happen. Flip of the switch, whatever. I know we've obviously talked about a lot of predictions, but I also feel like whatever happens is going to be something we can't necessarily predict, and that's going to happen unexpectedly. But it'll be really interesting to see if Flare decides to go live. You know, I kind of pictured that XRP would be mooning by that point, because that would kind of be the best scenario for everything in terms of the value it's bringing to the network and everything. But it's possible that we're not going to see, you know, huge changes in the market, that Flare will be launched, and then it could actually be really good for us on Flare, because the amount of Spark and other coins from Flare and Flare Finance that are their unique coins, like YFIN, that we would be able to accumulate could potentially be more, because of the various mechanics of the prices being lower and things like that. So whatever happens, it's going to be good. I'm not worried about it. I know a lot of people are kind of stressing like, oh, when's my Spark airdrop coming? If you were signed up for that, or, you know, if you didn't and you just wanted to buy some Spark / FLR, same thing. The opportunity will be there. So it's just something I kind of wanted to throw into the mix as like an interesting thing. And then Flare Finance beta, that's supposed to have been going on for they've launched it like 2 or 3 times now, and every time I've like been in there right to start it, and it's been several weeks now. It's been probably like 2 months since they told us that they were going to get it going in like the next weekend. So something's definitely happening with Flare Finance, because like I said, 2 months ago they were supposed to relaunch that that beta, and they never did. And now it's like we're at the last minute where maybe they're going to launch the beta right when they launch Flare Networks themselves, because Flare Finance won't come out for a month after the Flare Networks launch. So it's possible Flare Finance will launch their beta in that time period and get everyone used to it. But the beta is really useful for learning how to get integrated into the system and how to use it and make the most opportunity from it. Farron says, I'm on disability. Do you think they'll take people like me into consideration so we don't go without? It's not like we can prepare. Yeah, I don't think we have any reason to fear as far as being in a like a crazy, I mean, we never know what's going to happen, but I do feel like we're going to be taken care of. And I feel like there's way too many people in situations like that where they're dependent upon either disability or the pharmaceutical industry, like to keep them alive, or to keep paying for their bills every month. Financially, I think we're going to be okay. Like, especially those of us that are involved in these kind of projects. If you've got XRP, if you've got some other cryptos, I think we're going to definitely be okay in the event of like a banking collapse. I don't feel like there's going to be some huge crazy collapse unless something really changes, but I'm feeling pretty secure on the timeline that like we're going to be okay. And on that kind of thing, I don't think you have any reason to worry. I think you will be taken care of in one form or another. We all will be. Yeah, Johnny, you got to come to our event. July 23rd to the 25th, Family of Light Gathering. We've got super on sale passes right now. Flash sale for just this weekend, just for you guys here, and maybe we'll post on Instagram too, but pretty much just for this YouTube, and then Sunday night when we go live with Matthew Mornian, which, by the way, that's going to be over on Ascension Diaries channel. This is my beloved wife. She and I will be interviewing Matthew Mornian on her channel it'll be live on her channel. So you can go subscribe to that so that you don't miss that I believe I put it in the description down below, her channel, if you guys are already on that. And that interview with Matthew is going to be super fun. Always lots of great topics with Matthew. Blue light special on XRP. Get it while it's hot, Mystic says. All right. What else we got? We talked about the UFO. I'm going to have to go read this report from the DNI and see if there's anything good in it, but it sounds like there isn't really. We'll see what comes up. One other thing is I will be speaking, or I will be hosting the main stage for Camp Disclosure coming up. Oh, looks like it doesn't want to show the... There we go. For Camp Disclosure coming up in Helen, Georgia. And there's lots of great speakers there. And I'll be hosting the main stage. Went to Camp Disclosure last year, and it was super awesome. Very much a different kind of vibe than the event we're hosting in Sedona. So if you can go to both, I would definitely recommend it. I've never been to Georgia, so I'm pretty excited to check it out. So that's campdisclosure.com. I definitely recommend that. And that's about it, I think, for everything that I was going to talk about, unless you guys have any other last minute questions. There's Ascension Diaries in the chat. Follow her page if you dare, she says. But yeah, once again, our interview with Matthew will be live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I don't think I said 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Ascension Diaries channel. And then I'll probably try to re-upload it onto my channel. So yeah, all right, you guys. Good stuff. Glad to be here with you all. We've been going 2 hours. I'm starting to get a little tired and a little hungry. I haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to do that. Once again, check out Family of Light Gathering. Flash sale only this weekend. So if you want to get that awesome sale price, over $100 off on the main pass and $40 off on the live stream pass, I would get on that while it's still available. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Anything else? I don't think so. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Much love. And hopefully I will be seeing you here in the physical in Sedona, Arizona, amongst the Red Rocks with the tribe. So much love, peace, and I will see you guys Sunday. I'll see you Sunday on Ascension Diaries with Matthew. All right. Much love, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen across planet Earth, what's up? And welcome to Morning Coffee. What's up, guys?
I am Kate Buckley. Some of you may know me as from my Twitter or my YouTube channel, The Kate Awakening. Thanks, Mom.
Where's everybody at? Where are you at, family?
It was at that point I knew, like, I was like, this feels good. I know we're like doing something right
same.
here.
Good day. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite creator. This is Baseline. I'm your host, Xavier Hawk.
It was pumping. I knew when the masses woke up, they were going to want to ride that wave, and there's going to be a big push.
Before that, though, I'm just going to burn a little bit of Palo Santo. Just get everybody settled in.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life.
See? You can't be afraid of anything in life, you guys. You gotta just get over your fear. Especially if you're afraid of doing something, that's all the more reason why you should hit it and go for it. Pedal to the metal. Because fear is just a frequency you don't want to live in.
You wear your blues like a new pair of shoes and keep the secret to your heart locked up in a tomb. I got the tool to make your mind, body, and spirit move, but I pursued all I can, and now the rest is up to you.
Beep, bubble, beep.
Hello, hello. I see you all here. This would be considered in a way a blackout if the hours did roll by and there was no data all of a sudden, but it was just all black. That's what we call a blackout.
Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Cosmic Download. My name is Jace.
We're getting the gang back together. The tribe is gathering.